I think for me, it's probably best to talk about two things, kind of related. People sometimes get them confused. One is a dream, and the other is a vision. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So, I I was born in Bangladesh, and I came to Britain in 1981. I remember coming. The first thing that struck me was it's cold. This is a cold country. You know, this is. I grew up in a hot country. I couldn't compute the cold. In fact, after 43 years, I still can't deal with the cold of this country. It's just something that gets into your bones. I was the son of an immigrant. I came to the country, and we kind of went through the schooling system. I think within the first couple of weeks, I was robbed probably 10 times in 10 days by some of the white kids. And I use the word loosely. I use the word white loosely because I don't like to stereotype and say white, black, Asian, whatever. It just happened to be that they were white. And I had to be strong. And so a lot of the things that happened to me over the years, which I thought were struggles, I now look back and I feel blessed that Allah gave me those challenges. That kind of experience made me a fighter. I probably learned every type of martial art since that time. I do grappling, I do boxing, do Thai boxing, BJJ, wrestling, Olympic wrestling, judo. I've just done them all and I'm not a naturally aggressive person. It's because I had to learn to defend myself. And this is what it led to. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, as the son of an immigrant, there was no silver spoon. There was nobody there to tell me what to do, how to do it. All I had was challenges, right? And I remember as a young boy, thinking one day I'm gonna do something big. I didn't know what that big thing was, but I can still remember at the age of 7 or 8 thinking I'm gonna do something big. And that went into my school years. I gravitated naturally to some things which at the time seemed to be very strange. So, for example, at the age of 9, I learned to program on a 8-bit computer, probably in, 85, 86. This is when computers were not vogue. If you played with computers, you probably got bullied at school. So we kind of had to keep that a secret. But it's dreams. And the point I'm trying to make is, without dreams, you have no conception of what you can achieve. And one of the things I strongly encourage people, especially with their children, is let them dream. Because the dream will give you something to aspire to, and it's really, really, really important. And there's a strong correlation with things like Lego and creative play that then creates adults who are incredibly smart and incredibly driven. So, that's I think something really important. If any of you guys have watched the program called The Last Dance on Netflix, you'll see Michael Jordan, and you'll see that drive, that passion, the inability to give up. I'm sure Iman will relate to this. Everything is against you. You will fail, you will fail again. The question is, are you going to get up? Are you going to fight? So you have to have that inside you. You never want to be second best. I never wanted to be second best. If I lost in anything, I want to know why, and I want to come back, and I actually want to come back stronger. Never really content. And this is important because long-term entrepreneurs are not driven by money. This is the very interesting thing. I'm not driven by money. Money follows if you focus on the thing that you're passionate about. It will naturally occur. You don't have to worry and target that. It's just one of those natural truisms of life. So to abbreviate the story, I went and, I did a bunch of things in my career. I kind of ended up in data because I had a programming background, and I got headhunted by the BBC. And again, this is really another story for another day as to why, to launch something called iPlayer, which at the time was cutting edge. This is 2007. So this is before, video on demand. I had to explain to my wife what the concept of streaming online meant, because people were like, hey, that's impossible, Just bear in mind, at the time, Netflix and LoveFilm were sending DVDs in the post. So we built something which was truly innovative. And from there, I kind of had a couple of experiences, and I realized, put it this way, the joke I have is, before I did iPlayer, I had hair. After iPlayer, I lost that. So I kind of realized, hey, I'm losing assets. I need to make it worth my while, right? So, I became very close friends with with a chap who's now my business partner, and we formed Health IQ. Again, I'm just really cutting the story short. And the next thing is vision. So Health IQ started off. We tried everything. We tried recruitment. We tried consultancy in hospitals. The thing we ended up with had very little correlation with what we started. And the reason why I mention this is the first thing is dream. So must dream to give you a conception of what's possible. Vision is about, there's this really incorrect notion that entrepreneurs and clever business guys, they come along and they have this really grand vision and they turn up and they know exactly what they're going to do and they make it reality. That is an absolute untrue. In reality, you start somewhere, and the analogy I give is you have a boat, a ship, and you sail in the general direction. Like Columbus, you generally go west. You don't know where you're going to go, right? And as you get closer to the horizon, as you get closer to the shore, you decide which island you want to jump off of. And that is very similar to visions. So you don't need a vision, but as Iman has said, you have to be, what I say, you have to be in it to win it. So if Iman is not there developing a e-commerce solution, he doesn't know that Google are going to cancel, but he's there, he's ready, he's done something already. And when the market shifts and changes, he takes advantage of it. So unless you're there, right, you can't take advantage of it. So this idea that you need a grand vision, honestly, forget it. That's just for books and that's for movies. Most of these guys did not have an idea of what they're going to do. And I include Facebook in that, by the way. And in the end, they come out with a notion that works. And I'll explain in one of my answers downstream as to why that happens. So Health IQ was formed, and we kind of focused in the end on big data and some very clever tech, which again I won't bore you with. The company grew pretty aggressively, and in 2019 we sold to a company called Corona. By the way, no relation to the virus. I'm not responsible for the virus. If anybody asks me, it's got nothing to do with me. Corona very coincidentally stands for Confederation of Rheumatologists of North America, which is abbreviated to Corona. And we were acquired by Corona in 2019. And since that time, since after the acquisition, Corona obviously liked my humor and my charm, so they put me on their board. And I now have probably one of the leading shares in the organization. The company was recapitalized last year for about just under $300 million. And our aim is to get to 1 billion by 2024.